Welcome to Say Your Piece, episode number 54. My name is Jamar.
My name is Christiane, and today we have choreographer and dancer Stuck Sanders with us today.
Yo.
Hey.
Welcome to the show, man.
Welcome.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I think I mentioned before we started recording that I stalked you a little bit. So I watched your videos, and you have like this really dope ass presence where it's like, I felt you being such a humble person, because every time you perform, you give like this little smile and it's like this little glow, and it's just like, oh, he's having so much fun up there. And then I'm like totally impressed with your flexibility, and made me want to practice stretching and do some pistol squats. So it's like damn, like you're really great. Well, obviously because you're in World of Dance, right?
Yeah.
So do you ever pay attention to the YouTube comments? I'm just curious.
I'll scroll through like here and there, but you know, it seems so people seem so far off into their own world, you know, sometimes. So it's never like personal, you know. I guess even when it's good, like good comments, you know, in a way, like it could be a robot or something, you know. So
yeah, like a bot.
Yeah. Do you get like DMs from bots too?
I get a lot of DMs from bots. I also try to like scroll through and like see who's real, because I don't like to just like let people go into the DMs and not like reply because their profile's like not cool or something, you know. Some people, like, I get a lot of Indian fans. Like I got a bunch of people in my DMs from India. So I always try to go to their like profile and check out their pages and stuff, because India has a lot of aspiring dancers, and they're like, it's wild. That's crazy. To me. Yeah, it's wild to me, because like I'll go to their page and they'll be like shoeless or something in the mud, like dance, you know, and I'm just like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know? So I'll show some love. I'll tap a like or something just so they can like see that I'm real. But other than that, like if it's weird, I just like I'll leave it where it's at.
I know they be having the 3-day weddings, and they have a tradition coming up. I think it's called Holi, which I just found out what that was about. Like, you know, the color runs where they throw the powder and it's like they get all these colors on them. So that came from Holi traditions. But yeah, they have like the most interesting dances and such, and I think they're cool.
Yeah, they be bringing out the elephants, yo.
They know how to live it up.
Yeah. There's a lot of dance nerds out there. So I do a style called animation, and it's like robotic, slow motions, like, you know, messing with just stop animation and stuff. And I think it's like one of the nerd styles of dance, you know, because you got to really sit there and like you got to really explore yourself, like figure out how your fingers move and like you know. But it seems to be like strong out there, like they really like animation dancers. So I think I get a lot of love from out there.
That's what's up.
So with that type of dance, how much practice do you have to put in? Because you got to be on point with hitting every movement.
Yeah, animation is one of the ones where it's like you don't see a lot of people doing it, but it's that's why, because it takes so much focus, like just a lot of it's mental, just brain power, like thinking about different muscles and thinking about different like isolations. So more thinking. That's why I would call it a nerd style, you know, just like shout out to the nerds. I've been a nerd on that style for a minute, so I'm talking about myself when I say that. But
yeah.
So do you have moves that you like are your go-to, like as like or like filler moves?
So like you mentioned, like my pistol crane positions. It's not a certain move. I just train in certain areas, you know. So I'll take my body into a place, and I'll only work from there, so that I'm used to pulling from there, you know. So that crane position is actually one of my favorite positions, because it comes from a style called turfing, and a lot of people don't do it in that. Like they don't build material around it, more so using it as a move. So I could just go there and just do things from there, and it's kind of all different, but in the same like concept, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of confusing.
Damn, turfing. I haven't heard that in hella long.
You know what?
That's what I tried to do back then. That's what I was
I
trying
haven't
to do
heard
back
that
then.
forever.
Yeah. It's time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's crazy because I just literally just this past weekend, a turf battle passed, and it was very interesting. Like just the whole surroundings, and to realize that I was an OG in that setting. You know, I'm 29.
Mm,
I'm not old. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
29 years old, but in the setting, everybody around us was like OG. You know, we came up like we created turfing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody that was in that like circle. So I got to see people I haven't seen in 10 years, and it was just complete nostalgic, like seeing just that whole vibe. But it was a lot. It was a lot that I had to say, you know, and I haven't got to say, but a lot I could say about it, you know. Just like me from then to now, I could see like so much change. Like after the battle,
mm-hmm.
I was looking at we did it at Embarcadero Plaza, so it was outside. And after the battle, I was just looking around and I just saw all the trash, you know, and that was just like I was just like, wow, man, I like it was wild to me how much trash was on the ground, you know, after that. And it was like from us. And I was like, man, no, not one person, like there was literally trash cans right there. Not one person even like picked up their trash.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
everybody was drinking and doing their thing, and nobody even like threw away any trash. I was literally the
Yeah.
only one standing
Mm-hmm.
right there. But then I realized being an OG in the style, I have the power. I'm literally connected to all those dudes, you know. So I want to do something in turfing where we can get together and like fix those type of things, just so people can see us as, you know, we still here. You know, turfing is still here, even though I don't do it. I mean, I don't do turfing in the whole like in itself, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my stuff comes from the essence of turfing. So to be an OG in that style, I felt like it was my responsibility, you know, to see that and like, damn, that you know, that was just one of the one of the things, but small things, you know, that could be fixed
Yeah.
within the community. And I was one of
Yeah.
the few dancers that went and did other styles besides turfing, you know, but turfing is still there.
Wait, so did you end up like picking up the trash like after yourself or like
I mean, to an extent, but it was so
Mm-hmm.
wild. It was so wild. There was bottles. There was, you know, it was stuff everywhere,
Yeah.
and it was bad. But I think like, I can, if I wanted to put the foot forward, I can like put a change to that by just
You're right.
putting it in
Mm-hmm.
everyone's ear, because I didn't really realize I was still connected to everybody. You know, I think people would listen if we came as a community and like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
set our standards, people will listen.
It takes kind of like just one person to make the change too, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I think about
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is like a weird ass analogy. Well, not as weird, but sometimes people don't want to do certain things because someone hasn't done it for them. And I think this is when I start thinking about RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like
Mm,
she was that person to do that for women, right? So
yeah,
it kind of like up to us to like start that one thing for others. So when you're like, hey, look, I know y'all are over here turfing and stuff, but maybe like have a plastic bag, just like look
yeah,
at people and point it. And you, like I said, you have this like personality where you do it so friendly. Like when if you smile, you're like, oh, put your trash in there. They probably wouldn't be offended,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
and that's something that like I understand, and I'm also understanding in the world you can't really make people do.
Hmm.
You can't make people do, but if you're doing at the same time, then you can set the example. So
Right,
the
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
way I thought of it was like, man, I want to throw in a turf event, but with the right structure. You know,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
using all the same people for us. You know, because the event that just passed, it was for turfing, and that hasn't been
Yeah.
in since back in the day. You know, there hasn't been a turfing event for turfing in so long, and I was appreciative of that. And I would like to help with that, you know, help keep that going. But there's a lot of structure that needs to be done, and it's like
Yeah.
I think it's so much I can't even like I didn't even mention it to them because I'm just like, man. But I know how to like kind of be the, you know, try to just be that change. So I wanna throw an event, a turfing event for the. I just was talking to the guys who threw that last one, and I want to get together with them and throw like a Turf Dancers Hall of Fame, you know, and put.
Ooh.
That's dope.
Yeah, because I was watching the battle and there's a bunch of rookies, and that's dope to see that there's a bunch of rookies in a style that we thought was not here. You know, a style that we thought was not existent is thriving in those places. You know what I'm saying? Because the kids are still hopping on that. The kids are still doing it. But you know, it's up to the OGs that's in the crowd. All the OGs was in the crowd, not just me. It was like tons of us, like who got the whole style where it was, you know. So it's up to, I think, those people to like, you know, set the standard. So I think with this Hall of Fame, with this Turfers Hall of Fame, I can use all those people to like get together and like, you know, reset the standard on that, you know.
I think that was a good segue into this kind of question that I have. Communities are small. Like they seem huge, but at the same time, once you're in that community, it's small, right? So I think with Jamar as photographer and videographer, he's very aware of other photographers and videographers he's worked with and, you know, possibly collabed with. I think when I was very involved in the Tahitian community, that was small too. You knew who was the dopest ones at the time, right? And then you know who the legends were at the time. And I think everyone can relate to that. When they're a barber, they know who the best barbers are, or like when you're a model, you obviously know who the best models are. And then for you, your community is the dance community. I don't know which specifically, hip hop specifically, right?
Varies.
But I'm pretty sure there's like, yeah, it varies. Like it's hip hop, but then there's like certain strings of it, right?
Yeah.
So has anyone ever like come up to you and just be like, hey, I've seen you like at World of Dance or something like that? Like, have they ever just like brought themselves up to you and just say, hey, I've seen you somewhere?
Yeah, a lot of times. That's I think the cool part is like when people come up to you and show love, and really show love, like, you know, because of like they seen you somewhere and they respect your work or something. I always let that like drive me, you know what I mean? When I was young, I used to do things for attention, you know, like I got some stuff out there on the internet where it was just like, wow, you know, I was doing it trying to get views and stuff, and I respect the view thing, you know, and to an extent I do things for the views too, but it's like there's still a standard behind what you put into the world, you know what I mean? So if you put it out there, I think if you get it back the right way, then it's you know, it's more beneficial than getting paid, you know, because that's what can keep you going. And, you know, not all the time is a dancer viral. You know, I've been dancing for tons of years before my videos started even getting views. So I think when they started getting views, I was appreciative of it, and like super appreciative if people like got through just the borderline of seeing it on a viral stage and actually like reached out to me or something, you know. That's just all love.
I think it's manifesting the intent behind it, right? So like I think when you're looking at views, you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm getting the views, what the hell am I getting back at it, type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like sometimes people will come up to you and like, you know, sometimes as kids, you know, you can tell they're like into you because of who you are, you know, and that's dope too. I think that's dope too, because in a way, like when I used to see stuff like that on TV and I used to see people like that, it always inspired me to like be more than just what I was sitting in the house. You know, I was always like playing with toys or playing like talent shows or doing stuff like that just to try to be something other than what I was dealing with. So just to be a strong version of something different, I think is good for people that don't have different, you know.
I didn't get to see your Nutcracker hip hop performance. Was that something that you tried to do before quarantine, or like was it just like a special quarantine edition?
No, so Hip Hop Nutcracker like I put my everything into that. About 4 years now. I think that was our 5th year, but it was online.
Oh, really?
And so we do it annually. I got the opportunity to collab with a ballet studio about 4 years ago on our very first one, and it just went up from there. The next year it was bigger. The next year was bigger, and you know it was going up. COVID was actually the reason that stopped
It was
for
online.
the next year. Yeah, so we did an online version, and basically what we did was we just did a correlation of all the years previous, you know, and dropped it online because we never dropped anything online. It was always a show that you just had to be there to see.
Yeah.
Did you guys have to do like rehearsals and stuff online?
No, we for our online show, we just put together basically a mega video of all of our shows. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And we dropped something online for the viewers just so they can like have a Nutcracker vibe. If they've seen it before, they probably could check themselves out in it. We had a bunch of kids dancing in it. So it was something that people just like to watch, you know.
It's a very specific audience.
It is.
Right?
And it was crazy, you know what? Because while shooting Nutcracker, I was so hell bent on just like filming it, you know, like getting it filmed like a movie. Cause one of my dreams is just to make a real movie, like to direct a real movie. So I wanted to take not only what we were doing in theater, but to try to make a movie version of it. So previous to shutdown, I was already filming our Nutcrackers and making it into like a movie version. So when shutdown happened, we already had a movie version of our show, just due to the fact that we were just experimenting with that anyway. So when people watched it, it came out like super crazy and super, and like you can get very in tune with the story just because we can show you exactly what you wanted to see or what we wanted you to see. That was the cool part about doing it online, and like it was a good way to open up that side of just thinking while not like worrying about the stage crew and like this what's happening on stage, you know.
Yeah.
Because it was tough. And it got better over the years, like the first 2 years, first 3 years, it was so different as far as the material that people loved it, you know, but it was tough. Like I was just learning how to do all that stuff. Like they just threw me, in there, and I was doing that. On top of that, we were writing. We did a Hip Hop Cinderella. So anything that basically has a score or has a classical version to it, we were just flipping it. You know what I'm saying? And Cinderella was one of those ones where we would just flip it too. I would have my guy Drew. He goes by Tennessee now, but he would make all of our music. I would just send him the classical version, and we would just put our heads together on like what we can like base on like this style. So it was like true hip hop like music mixed with these like classical scores. So I think that was the best part. It was like that people we weren't trying to tell the story of hip hop. We were using hip hop to tell the story of the Nutcracker.
That's dope.
You know?
Yeah.
What made you think of doing that?
I worked at a ballet studio, and I taught hip hop classes there. In that ballet studio, you know, all ballet studios are in the Nutcracker business. That's like huge, and I had no clue. You know, coming from hip hop, I had no clue what the Nutcracker was. You know, I had not. And she said, "You ever see Nutcracker?" I'm like, "What? What is Nutcracker?"
I never seen it.
You know what I mean? Like,
I saw it last year.
It's wild. You know, it's wild because everybody, like in the ballet world, in the like everybody has seen it. Some ballet dancers have done Nutcracker from childhood to adulthood every year of their life. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that serious. And I thought, like, oh, that's dope to have a story for a style that's so traditional. And that means that every ballet studio in the world, Russian ballet, every ballet studio in the world is doing Nutcrackers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I thought about it. I was like, man, that would be really trippy to like just flip. And I think the fact that I didn't know Nutcracker, I was able to make it so different. Everything that I read, I would read it and I'd be like, nah, we're gonna go this way with that, you know. And I just was able to like flip everything. It still has the like traditional Nutcracker feel. We like, you know, old school with it, but it's really trippy to watch. I was able to bring in a ton of my turf fam, tons of the crump fam, tons of the breaking scene. So I was able to link multiple worlds of hip hop, multiple worlds of dance, all in one show, all getting paid, all paid dancers. So it's like that was big for me, not only to get a check for myself, but to be able to circulate that, you know what I'm saying, around it. That's the true meaning of hip hop for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? We all eat from this. And it's like no matter what style you wear, you know, so
Crumping, that's another type of dancing that I haven't heard in quite some time. Y'all remember, just hella random, y'all remember Bring It On? Did you guys see Bring It On when she did crumping? Like,
oh, that shit is crazy.
Yeah, that's viral in the crump.
That like,
yeah, that shit is. You know what's weird about that? When that movie came out, I don't think people really saw it and was like, "Yo, that shit looked crazy." I think people really thought it was fire back then, and now looking back, it's like, "Oh shit!" Like,
didn't age well.
That shit trash.
Especially when she started doing it in front of like the guys, and then she started doing that little move, like,
yeah.
I was like, "What the hell's happening?"
Yo, that was wild. That video is viral in the crump world. Like, it's globally laughed at.
I think I remember seeing it like resurfaced last year, and I was like, wow, why didn't we think about this? There's a lot of movies where we look at, we're just like, damn, we didn't think that was bad. Like Save the Last Dance. Like,
oh my God.
I thought back in the day when I was watching, I was like, oh my gosh, she's hitting it. And then I'm watching it now, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
it was bad.
People
really
are
bad.
TikToking the videos and they're like, this is what it looks like. Like if you did it yourself, like no one ever thinks about that.
Yeah. Save the Last Dance. It got me too. I can't lie, because I was a big fan of Save the Last Dance. I was young though. We was little. I remember that, you know, they was rocking on the chair and it was just like, like, nah.
I really thought that when I got older, clubs were gonna look like that. Like everyone is just like, you know, like got their whole choreography down and doing their thing, and then they start shimmying back and forth to one another. And then I get to the clubs and I'm like, this ain't anything like Save the Last Dance at all. What do you think is a really great dance movie?
Great dance movies. You Got Served. Easy. Easily the best hip hop version of dance, like representation. And let me tell you why. Because You Got Served was a game changer. I can remember when I was in 7th grade and You Got Served came out, like the streets started battling. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember we started battling. Like it made us battle. It made us go and start like really battling. And that was wild because that was like right around the time. Man, You Got Served had a lot to do with the start of my whole life in dance. Yeah. Like I remember the BTK era where I think I would come straight home from school, watch 106 in Park. I don't even know if you guys know about the 106 in Park era, but it was a BET show. It was called 106 in Park. No, it was like, Free and AJ, but they used to have the top 10. So all the music used to circulate on there, but B2K was hot around that time. They had all the dance moves. I used to come home, straight home, learn the dance moves from the TV. And you know, it was wild. I would be watching the dance moves and I would learn them like the correct way. I would just like pause it or whatever, learn, like turn around. So I would be doing it with them, like almost like looking out, like I was in the TV. And my mom was like, yo, you really like dancing. Like that's how she even put me, she put me in there. But around that time, You Got Served dropped, went up. And there's a lot of real dancers in You Got Served. That's the problem with Step Up and these other movies. They're trying to tell a story about the streets while not incorporating anything about the street. And there's the disconnect right there. It's like, not a dancer on the field is a street dancer, and yet you're trying to highlight street styles. It's like, and that was a problem. And that was a problem that was not. It was just like all the other stuff that is now coming to light. It was never, like, are we not going to mention the fact that these movies are stealing all of our stuff? Like literally, they will literally come to the hood, try to see everything, and then go and try to teach it to whoever they're going to hire for this movie. That's literally what they're doing. Like instead of just actually going to get the people. Like, you ever seen the movie Rise?
No,
I haven't seen it.
I'm horrible with movies, by the way. So
Rise is a dance documentary. It's a dance documentary, and it was a Crump documentary. It was the first Crump documentary.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, it was the Crump one that it put Crump on the map as far as like people understanding what Crump is. And that story just came out recently, that the guy who filmed that, his name is Dave Chappelle. I don't think it's the actual Dave Chappelle.
I think it's La
Dave
Chappelle.
Yeah.
La Chappelle.
So it's a story. I don't want to speak on what did or did not happen, because I don't know complete facts. But Tight Eyes, which was the star of that, came out to say that when all of them were young, that producer came, got all of them, paid them off like very little, and shot the documentary. And it was one of the best documentaries ever. You know what I mean? Because it was actually in the street. He was actually in the streets, going around to different hoods, like seeing all the stuff that was bubbling out there. And then he got that content, and he dipped. He didn't pay no one off. So then that documentary just popped up on Netflix. And
it's on Netflix now?
Yeah. And Tight Eyes was like, wait, what? No one got a check for nothing? And even back then they didn't get paid for it. And then 10 years later, 15 years later, it goes on Netflix, and no one gets, you know what I'm saying? No one gets a dime.
Yeah.
Like, so that's, I don't know where that went, but that's wild, one of the greatest dance movies of all time. And it kind of made it like a bittersweet to even watch it, It's like, why you go watch that?
Like, you don't even want to support a movie that
exactly.
Exactly. That came out in like 2005, 2006, something like that, right? Yeah.
Right now, power is within the people, so they can do their thing and hopefully be rewarded for it.
I just wikied it, and it said that it had a production budget of $700,000.
Wow,
that's a
and they didn't even pay. They didn't even pay anyone too. So that's a big budget.
And I'm just thinking, like, what did they get if it's on Netflix right now? What did they get for that? Like, that is completely,
that's crazy.
So I try to use my platform, as far as Nutcracker, as far as anything I'm doing on stage, to put the real in there and give the real people opportunities. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by Nutcracker is like my thing, because I think that's where I can lend the most, like arms out and kind of make the most noise. That's where that's the most work I've ever felt like I've put in towards the community. Besides like my company, like I do have dance companies and like youth teams. But the thing about those youth teams is I'm in a better place now. I'm in a better place in life now. I'm in a better area. So the kids that I train, I get to focus on them being artists. and that's a blessing. You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying they're not going through shit, but I get to focus more on helping them, and they get to focus more. They get to focus back on helping me. Like when you're in a neighborhood where it's street dancing, where it's battling, you know, it's a lot of other stuff going on, to where it's not the same. You know, people can't come and sign up for a team and pay for it every month. You know what I mean? Or they can't. You know, they don't even got the means to get to practice. Or you know, it's those people that I feel like I really want to give back to, because those are the ones that are truly birthing this movement of the street. You know, it's like those are the true movers of the street and the true voices of the street. And not saying like you gotta be from the street to like to be in that situation, but it's like when it comes to turf dancing, that's a whole different community. You know what I'm saying? A whole different community than choreography. If I'm teaching choreography, these kids are coming in. A lot of these kids are young prodigies. You know, their parents take them everywhere in the world to dance, you know, and it's a blessing that they'll come and like train under me for a sec. But that's something that a lot of people don't have. So my goal is to give back to the people who don't have it, you know, who don't have the means for it.
Here's another thing that I started thinking about too. It's like kids can't even already like pay for their lunches, you know, and then you already want to charge them out the ass to do a hobby. And I get why like You Got Served like really resonated with you, because it kind of gave you an idea, even though there was a scene where there was dancing in the rain. So every time it's pouring, it makes me want to hit it.
Everybody does it for Little Saint. You gotta do it for Little Saint.
Do it for Little. I remember that, like when it's pouring, it's like, oh God, this weather makes me want to hit it for Little Saint for the one time, you know, record themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I totally agree with you. Like even, and I think it all goes back with how fucked up the American system is, right? Like not a lot of people want to give back to the community, and they want to capitalize on that opportunity. You know,
it's for profit.
Profit. Everything's for profit.
Yeah. But what they don't understand is, for you to help doesn't mean you're not going to get profit. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's all about intention. And I believe it's all about an intention, to where I just like to do things like that, to where if you don't get profit, it's not like you lose. You still benefit from, I think you benefit the most from helping people, you know, and if you help someone, you know, and you get profit for it, like the profit is just something on the top of you helping someone, you know. So
feeds your soul too.
Yeah, right? The goal is to help. The goal is to help. That's why I will always like, I get a lot of kids doing private classes, and I charge a lot for my privates, because I know it's something that, like, if you want to really get deep, you know, we're gonna get deep. But then it's like, how deep do you want to get? If you want to really sit, if someone would really like come to me and like, yeah, I want to train once a week with you every month for the whole year, that's something that I appreciate, to where I'm not going to try to charge you out like some crazy number for you to do that. I'm going to try to actually make that reasonable, so that if you can put in more work for a cheaper price. It's actually cheap. It's like, it makes it cheaper for you if you put in more work, because then I know you're actually working harder, and I'll just scholarship them. All right, you just, wherever I'm at, you just be there, and we'll see if you want to be there, you know. And that alone can help a kid get out of a dark place, and they'll always, you know, hold you down for that, I believe.
Yeah, and kids go through a lot too. There's a lot of things that you don't hear about that's going on with their life, right?
Big time.
I mean, this is no offense to like the parents and stuff, but some kids, they have really great looking parents, quote unquote. They may look great on the outside, but you never know what's on the inside. And sometimes kids don't have the confidence to speak up because of what they're afraid to lose. You know, that's getting deep. Not, like I said, it's not, I'm not offending the parents, not saying they're hiding anything, but it's the reality of things, you know?
Yeah.
And they also have another person to rely on that they trust. It allows them to open up the doors. Oh my God, I feel like I'm in a therapy session.
I know, this is dope. This is dope.
I'm just quite curious. I mean, you're a leader of 2 dance groups. You're a director. You're a teacher, photographer, videographer. I saw your YouTube page. Father, fiance. How do you do it all? Like, what's your approach on work-life balance? I mean, you seem like you're well rested as well, keeping the smile on your face.
Yeah. I try to just be 100% myself and work 100% solely around like what I want to do and how I want to do it. So I'm a very lucky. I feel every day I wake up, I feel so lucky because it wasn't always easy. You know what I mean? Even though I'm not rich, my house is not crazy big. It wasn't always easy to just live. You know what I mean? It was hard. It was hard to even live. So once things got easier to just live, I just was like, I need to capitalize on that. So I started like just creating. I understand that I'm dancing and dancing is not my work. It's like my passion, but it's also my work. So like figuring out what's play, figuring out what's like gonna get, that snowball going for the hustle. It's all about hustling. And I think that's kind of what the streets like teaches you how to hustle. And a lot of times people don't learn how to hustle in a productive way. I think when I was young, I started hustling in a productive way, and it was so different from the non-productive way that it was like, I was like, wow, man, if this is like, this is life, like I remember doing I remember doing my first show, like dancing for a full month straight. My first like show working for a month straight. I was in LA, I was doing like an amusement park. I was dancing for an artist named Elvira. She's like a old school, like Halloween, like kind of artist. But it was so dope to be on stage like 4 nights, 4 days a night. I mean, 4 nights a week, just every day like that. And that right there, coming from before that, I think I was working at Wingstop. Like I had a job, but I was like, man, every day I came home, I used to smell like chicken, like mad chicken. Like, I used to have my hat. I'm telling you, every day I came home, people just like, you got lemon pepper wings? Like, it's the craziest smell. I remember not eating Wingstop for 3 or 4 years after that, just because I was so like tripped out about that smell, bro. Yeah, so I can like Wingstop. I would work at Wingstop. Other than Wingstop, I was dancing because when I like, not to jump subjects, but I started dancing early and I started getting paid for dancing early. So I knew I could hustle there early. So when I started Wingstop, I would just be like, I hate smelling like chicken. You know what I'm saying? So I would try to balance it with working, try to balance it with dance. And then I met someone, which was like another director of mine, craziest, which like, he has the craziest story, but his name is Farside. He was a leader of a group called Academy of Villains.
And, I've heard of them. My friend used to dance for them.
Yeah, and it's crazy, man, what happened to him like in life right now. Like he is just like, wow. But he was one of the first dudes who kind of taught me how to hustle, because he had a real street mentality and he was a dancer. You know what I'm saying? So when I started dancing under him, I understood him. When he would talk to me, when he would teach me how to do shit, I understood him. Him and his wife, which were the directors, creators of that, a bunch of abuse, like allegations and situations.
I heard, yeah.
But in the midst of that, I was there. You know what I mean? And I was also one of his young prodigies. It's a certain code, you know what I mean, when it comes to just understanding. And he never tried to play me, because I feel like
Mhm.
he knew that I wasn't like gullible like that, as far as like
Mm-hmm.
a manipulator knows who to manipulate.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
maybe he did manipulate me in some ways, but a lot of things he
Mm-hmm.
did made me better. I don't want to like glorify anything, you know, because I know a lot of people are in her situations from that. But just my personal point of view, he made me a lot better as far as getting my shit together. You know, I remember in that time I was
Mhm.
homeless and I had nothing but dance. And I was like, yo, if I'm gonna go hard with this, I'm gonna go hard because it's all I got. You know what I'm saying? And he really like, all right, bro, come stay with me. Like he put me in a place. You know what I'm saying? He put me next to him so I can work. And
Mhm.
I really started to work from that, and I never stopped since then. So I can't do nothing but have appreciation for it. And I think I was lucky. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's another thing too. Some parts of your personality actually really saves you from experiencing other distress,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah, big time.
Before we move to the lightning round questions, do you have any last thoughts?
I would say my advice is to try to do for others as much as you do for yourself, and see if it's beneficial. A lot of people, I think, in my area of content and all that thing, they think like fame is something that stops at fame, but it doesn't just stop at fame. After you get famous, there's more. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like there's purpose in the things that you do. So a lot of people, I think, have talent and they search for the wrong purpose. So just find the right purpose, you know, and I think that will help you through life.
Mhm.
I like that. Finding out
Mhm.
your purpose. That's
That,
a nice.
that's how
Yeah.
you know you an OG in the game now, man.
And a lot of things happen because, you know, people try to paint a picture of you, or you don't, sometimes you don't know who you are when
Yeah.
Mhm.
before that stuff happens. So a lot of the times fame has came my way and it skips me, and I'm just like kind of bummed about it, but then I'm not, because after that I usually find myself a little deeper and I'm like, wow, I'm glad
Mhm.
I wasn't like broadcasted at my earlier peak, you know, at an
Yeah.
earlier stage.
Mhm.
All right, so let's go ahead and close it out with the lightning round. I got 4 questions for you, and you just gotta think fast and answer.
All right,
So
for sure.
they got you thinking a little bit. So the first question is: you're gonna sail around the world. What is the name of your boat and why?
The moon.
The moon.
Yeah,
The moon.
I'm obsessed with the moon, and plus, my daughter's name is Luna. And she would just love a boat called
Oh,
Mm.
the Moon.
so
Yeah,
pretty.
so we just fly on the moon. I'm a space boy, so we just like the moon will be our way to like go through the stars, aka the ocean.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's a
If
good
you
one.
can, I know it's hella cute. God, I wouldn't have thought of that shit. Damn. But
It was the first thing that came up.
if you can be immortal, what age would you be forever and why?
Ooh, 29.
So now,
Yep. Now I would say um it's a good middle age, I think. Like, you know, it's like
Mhm.
you're not the youngest person in the room, but you're not like the oldest person in the room. Plus, I think when people get to like 30, I think that's when they really start thinking like how to make a change. Like, how could you, like, 20s to 30 was like about me, you know, about how could I get out there?
Mhm.
But I think like 29, I'm wrapping around that corner of how could I like make a difference to the world. So
yeah.
I think that's about the
Mhm.
age.
Yeah, who knows what 30 is going to be like.
Yeah,
I'm still
yeah.
I know
scared of
what 30 is like.
I'm
I'm 30.
So Jamar, before you got on this call, he was talking to me about how he's been taking melatonin, and he was like, "Man, once you hit 30, your
Crazy,
sleeping
yo.
issues like start to rise."
Mhm.
I'm just like, "Damn, that sucks." Got a while till I get there.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think it's mine. I think it's a lot in the mind too, because
yeah,
I do a lot of things that I probably shouldn't. But I always just had that mindset of like that's just how I work, you know. So and it works, you know. So and I know a lot of people it's mind over matter. It really is because
Definitely.
you hear that, Jamar? It's mind over matter.
But when your mind filled with stress, you can't sleep, yo.
big time. That has a lot to do with it for sure.
What is your favorite item that you've bought this past year? And we could think about this and this fiscal year. So since COVID started, since quarantine started, what's your favorite item you bought?
I would say my favorite item will be my motorcycle.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah. I bought a motorcycle maybe like 10 months ago. And I just try to challenge myself to learn something new, get something new.
So did you have to take the lessons to get the license, right? Or did you just go to the DMV and say, I'm here to take the test?
Yeah, basically, because it was so hard. It was so hard to like find a class. I have a friend, his name's Marley, and he came and taught me how to ride like for a couple nights. And he came, he has cancer and he's doing chemo like weekly, you know, and he's like deep in his cancer stages, you know, and he took the time to like ride out to me. He rode like an hour in like some crazy wind, like came out and just literally taught me hand by hand how to ride, you know. And I think it was good for him too, because
right.
I think people try to like walk on eggshells with him because they know he's sick and stuff, you know. So I just hit him up like, bro, you could come teach me some stuff then. And he was with it. He came and taught me and it was lit. I haven't got a chance to ride with him yet, but I'm trying to get a good ride with him in. You know, he's still thriving doing his thing.
Right.
He's just like chemo weekly, you know, and I just look at his Facebook post and it's a lot. He's dealing with like just not knowing if he's gonna live the next day.
Yeah,
you know,
that's hard.
So when I look at him, I'm just like, how could I complain on anything, you know?
Right. That's true. Well, it's kind of difficult to transition to this last question after that.
Okay. Hey, he's a rider though. He's a rider. He's living.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to Chris, man. Love you back.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you wish someone taught you a long time ago?
I'll just say the things that come to my mind. I wish that someone taught me love for the things around me. I think coming up in like my tribe, it was I'm the youngest of 5, so we are deep in the house, you know, deep in the house all the time. I got hundreds of cousins. I mean, hundreds, you know. My mom's one of 17. My dad's one of 10. So my uncles and aunties are just thick, like it's deep. And it's always focused on internal, you know. My whole life, I can remember everything, all my memories happening in the house. So my mom was never active. My dad played a little like softball, so he would take us to play ball. You know, we learned how to play sports from my pops for sure. But they were never active on like hiking, on like biking or anything, you know what I'm saying? Anything on the outside. So now that being a young father, I'm like experiencing my kid, all my favorite moments with her, and they're all like outside, you know, all the things that I never did when I was young.
All right. That is the last of it. Thank you so much for being a part of our show. I appreciate it. I love having these conversations.
It was great talking to you, man.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
anything you guys ever need, just let me know. You know, like I said, I'm always here. I'm in the Bay, so we can make it happen.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
Let's close it out, Jamar.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming on, man. It was a real pleasure talking to you. And I hope everyone enjoyed the episode. And we'll catch you again next week. We out.
Bye.
See y'all.